Buenas noches a todos. Estamos esperando un par de minutos nada más en lo que toda la gente logra entrar y podamos comenzar la conferencia con Rahman y Friedman. Buenas noches a todos los que se han conectado recientemente. Estamos dando acceso a toda la gente que está en sala de espera. En unos momentos comenzamos. Les pedimos por favor, nos regalen 2 minutos más y empezaremos 9:05 en punto. Bueno, muy buenas noches. ¿Qué tal? Mi nombre es Emilio Penjos, en representación del Talmud Torah Monte Sinaí. Tenemos el gusto de tener esta noche nuevamente, un año después de que vino Rav Manny Friedman a México, a la comunidad, y 6 meses después de tener la primera conferencia de él vía Zoom, tenemos la oportunidad de tenerlo nuevamente con nosotros. Y esta noche será una conferencia especial. Hablaremos un poco del futuro. Good evening, Rabbi. It's an honor to have you here. Be very welcome to Monte Sinai community, and it's a pleasure for all of us that we work together in Talmud Torah Monte Sinai to have you here and hear your thoughts, your thinkings about what is the future that we're approaching. So this is your microphone. Please go ahead. Thank you very much. Welcome.
Yes, I'm sorry that I can't be there where we could all be together. But this is a blessing also, that people can be sitting in their houses, comfortable, and learning. So Zoom has become a big yeshiva. Thousands and thousands of people are studying Torah in yeshiva Zoom. So now that we're coming close to Rosh Hashanah, obviously the question is, how are we going to hear the shofar? What is the shul, the synagogue going to be? It has to be better than last year because we have to progress, never stagnate. So what have we gained by the experience of last year? We have discovered that the individual in his own home is the best preparation, not only for Rosh Hashanah, but even for Mashiach. And the month of Elul proves that point. Because the month of Elul is like when a king comes out into the field. Melech basodeh. The king comes out to the field and he greets everybody who's working in the fields. And he smiles and he makes them comfortable so that they have the courage to think about Rosh Hashanah, about being one of the people who coronate God as king, who come to the palace, which is what Rosh Hashanah is. We're entering God's palace. We are there for the coronation, when the king puts on his crown. Why does the king come out into the field? Because ani ledodi, vidodi li. A real relationship, a true relationship, has to be two ways. Ani ledodi, I am to my beloved, vidodi li, and my beloved is to me. If we think about it for a minute, it's an amazing statement. I am to my beloved, which means we already know each other. We already love each other. This is my beloved. So what do you want? Ani lidodi. I have to get closer to the one I love. I'm not starting the love. I'm not looking for love. I know who I love. And I need to become closer to the one I love. And the one I love has to get closer to me. Which means love is not enough. When you love someone and you want it to be a permanent relationship, forever, then you have to do something more. It's not, I will love you and you will love me. I will be yours and you will be mine. That's the next step after love. We call it marriage. But with God, with our Creator, the relationship from His side is forever. It's infinite. So we have to be able to make our side of the relationship also forever and intimate. So why does God come as a king in the field? He comes because He knows that we want to be His. We want to be His special people forever and ever. But we don't have the chutzpah. We're afraid. We don't think we're good enough. We don't think we're entitled. We're out in the field. We wish we could go to the palace, but it's beyond our reach. We can't. Look at me, I'm working. I'm wearing work clothes. I'm wearing boots. I'm not dressed for the occasion. I haven't prepared for the occasion. How could I go to the palace? So I give up on the idea. I'm never going to be in the palace. I love God, but that's all I can do. God loves me, but I'm not a tzaddik. I'm not one of those special people who can go to the palace and coronate God and tell God that we want Him to be our king. Who am I? but the fact that we want to, this inspires God. So he comes out to the field and he says, don't give up. Don't think that you're not welcome in the palace. You are welcome. There's a seat reserved for you. And that's why it's called Ani L'Dodi first, then Dodi Li. Dodi Li is once he's the king. Once he is the king, he will give me everything I need, and he will take care of me, and he will bless me. But that's after Rosh Hashanah. What happens until Rosh Hashanah? We want to be closer to him. We start the relationship. How do we start it? By wishing that we could be closer. By wanting to be his people. By wanting him to be our king. And not just for ourselves, but for the whole world. This inspires him to react to us. There's a holiday, Pesach. The holiday Pesach is described in the opposite order. Dodi li va'ani lo. First he comes to me, and then I respond to him, because that's what happened on Pesach. We were slaves in Egypt. We were minding our own business, trying to survive. We weren't thinking about God. But God came and said, I need you. Come with me to Har Sinai. And we will start an amazing project called Torah. And it will fix the world. So, in the holiday of Pesach, first him, then us. Dodi li, he wants to be mine, va'ani lo, and I get excited, and I want to be his. But Rosh Hashanah, first we want to be his. We're afraid to come to the palace, so he comes to the field to invite us, to encourage us. But he comes because we want him. We inspire him. Now that's a complete relationship. Once we make him our king, then we take a look at all of his requirements, all of his mitzvot, and we want to do it. He agreed to be our king. Well, now we have to show our loyalty. So we do all his mitzvot. And if we did anything wrong last year, we apologize, we do tshuva, we tell God that this is a new year, this year is going to be better, and we are forgiven for all of our sins because he wants to forgive us. He wants to be our king. He really likes us. So being in quarantine gave us a lot of time to think. We weren't busy. We weren't under pressure. We had time to look at ourselves, our family, our children, our purpose in life. So now, with the new year coming, and the thought of maybe going back to work, maybe going back to school, to yeshiva, maybe going back to synagogue, to the minyan. How is it going to be different? It will be different. Because now we're coming as stronger individuals. When the individuals are stronger, then the community is stronger. When each person comes with their personal prayer, and you have at least 10 to make a minyan, each one of the 10 has a personal prayer that he's been saving up for the last 6 months. Well, now the minyan and the congregation is very different. It's deeper. It's more real. So it's going to be an incredible Rosh Hashanah. And even if you have to spend Rosh Hashanah by yourself, as long as someone blows the shofar and you hear the shofar, your prayers are perfectly acceptable in heaven, as if you prayed with the biggest congregation in the Holy Land. There's nothing missing. It is not diminished. So we have to be completely confident, absolutely certain. What happened this past year was a preparation for something great. Without being mysterious. What's great? What's great? Great is when every Jew loves being a Jew. That would be great. When every Jew is proud to be a Jew. That would be great. Because 2,000 years of being without a home, 2,000 years of being persecuted, it kind of takes a little of your pride away. You don't have the confidence in yourself. The whole world is telling you you're no good. You're not welcome. You know, you start to believe it a little bit. Other people would have completely surrendered and given up a long time ago. We are amazing that we're still here. We are here, and we're still Jewish, which is the biggest miracle in the world. But we're not Jewish with the confidence that we need, with the pride that we need. We're not confident enough to share our message with the whole world, knowing that it's the only message that's going to bring God's blessings to the world. That's what we need. So what does good mean? What's going to be special and great this coming year? Jews are going to get back their confidence, because the world is going to want to hear, what does the Torah say? Because we don't know anymore. The world is giving up. They have philosophers, and they had religions, and they had theologies, and they had false beliefs. They had science, and they had politics. It all failed. It failed. It disappointed, because it doesn't make life meaningful. It only makes life easier. We don't need easier. We need meaningful. So the world wants to hear what the Jews learned and what the Jews know. So that will give us the confidence to share our wisdom. Number 2, what is a good world, a great world, an improved world? A world where all the people recognize that they are here to serve their Creator. The world does not belong to them or to us. We are guests in a fantastic universe created by the Creator for the Creator. But He needs us to make some changes in this world not only to get better ourselves, to make changes in the world, that everything in the world should serve its purpose. Because we've been thinking, we've been believing for a long time, this is our world, but it's big and it's difficult. So we need God's help in making our lives comfortable in this world. And that's the way we've been thinking, and that's the way we've been praying. God, help me with my life. That's not a good world. That's a very sad world. And that's why people are so pressured, and people are so anxious and need to take pills. We shouldn't need that. The world is God's world, and He needs it to be a certain way. And that way is that we should relate to Him, not use Him to get blessings and favors. It's His world, and we want to make Him comfortable in His world. So we're not working to improve ourselves. We've tried that for 5,000 years. Now we realize we're not here to improve ourselves. We're here to make the world the way God wants it to be. And in simple language, that means we are here to serve Him. After all, He's the creator. We are the guest. So that would be a much better world. A world in which Jews are comfortable and proud being Jewish, and the whole world, all human beings, are devoted to serving God. What does the Creator want? How do I do it for Him? And one more thing. We shouldn't have to work so hard. Does it make sense that we spend 6 days a week improving our circumstances so that we can rest on one day and for one day have a real life? The rest of the week, we're working to support our lives. 6 days? When do you get to live? You're working to make your life better. It should be the other way. You should work 1 day a week so you have 6 days to live, to spend doing something meaningful. Some rabbi once asked one of his congregants, "Do you have time to study?" He said, "No, I have to make a living and send my children to school." The rabbi said, "When I talk to your children, they tell me the same thing. They have no time to study. They're working to send their children to school." Everybody is sending somebody else to school. When are we finally going to live? When are we going to have a life that is meaningful and rich and purposeful? We keep working towards it. We never get to it. So why do we work 6 days a week so that we can have one good day? We should work 1 day to have 6 good days. Or maybe we shouldn't work at all. See, in the Garden of Eden, before they ate from the tree of knowledge, they didn't have to work. Everything they needed was there. And a lot. All the trees of the garden produced fruit. There was no such thing as a tree without fruit. Every tree supported life, provided what human beings needed, so that human beings can live, not work to make a living. Hopefully, we won't have to go back to work. How is that possible? We haven't yet discovered the wealth that the earth can give us. The earth meaning nature. Nature can provide so much. We haven't even touched the potential. Like solar energy. Why do we have to work and make things to produce energy? It's all there. The earth will produce more food than anyone can imagine. There's no end to how much food the earth can produce. So we have to find that key, that little secret that unlocks the treasures of nature so that we can go back to the days before the eating of the tree of knowledge, where everything was given to us by nature, not through miracles, so that we can devote ourselves completely to what God needs from us. This is what we've always looked forward to. Shabbos was a reminder. This is what life is supposed to be like. Working 6 days a week, that's not right. It should not be necessary. That's the world when it's messed up. But when the world becomes what it's meant to be, we won't have to work hard. It's a waste of time. And it produces too much anxiety, too much pressure, too much competition, too much greed. It's not nice. It's not. It's got to stop. So this is what we're looking forward to, because this past 6 months is an amazing preparation where we can rethink everything. Who says you have to go to work? Who says you have to travel, fly all over the place? What's wrong with having a life? Nothing wrong. This is what we're looking forward to, and this is what you can expect. So we're very optimistic about this coming year. We're going to see the benefits of everything that happened in these 6 months, politically, financially, in health, and mostly in morality.
Rabbi.
A moral world is a healthy world. A healthy world is a good world. And the world, the way God wants it to be, that's perfect.
Let me ask you something, Rabbi. What's the future of relationships after COVID era? What can we expect about the relationships?
We started off talking about love not being enough. When you love someone, it's not enough to just enjoy the pleasure of love. That's like candy and chocolate. When you love someone, you want to become united with that person. You want to become mine, and I will be yours. That's called intimate marriage. Jewish people can't just love each other. Sure, it's a mitzvah to love your fellow Jew, but that's not where it ends. When you love someone, you unite. It's not I love every Jew. Every Jew is my fellow Jew. I belong to them and they belong to me. So even when I don't like them, we are connected. And as long as we're connected, by tomorrow, I'll probably like you again. That's much stronger than just love. All of our relationships need to become deeper, especially the important ones. Parents and children. It's not been good. Not nearly good enough. Husbands and wives. It's got to be much better. People to people can use a lot of improvement. We are living like strangers to each other. Even
Rabbi.
strangers that we love, but we remain strangers. It's not good. I think we're now capable of moving to the next step.
It's been said that God has more faith in us than the faith we have to Him. Do you think that after this Corona era, do you think the human beings are going to be more humans? Are we going to be more spiritual humans? What do you think about that? Do you think how we make the change, how we learn the lesson?
God has more confidence in us than we have in him, and God has more confidence in us than we have in us.
This
We
is
have
hard.
become too humble in all the wrong ways. Yes, we are partners with God in creation. And we're ready to do our part. Relationships are going to become better because we realized how much we want it, how much we need it, and how much we benefit from it. We are a healthier population all over the world. We are healthier now. I don't mean with the virus. I mean with ourselves. We know ourselves better, and we appreciate what we have in life, beginning with our family. We never appreciated it as much as we do now. I know that some families had difficulties, stresses, but most people learned to appreciate and want to increase and deepen their relationships. Now we have to find how to do it, and we will. It will be better, not weaker.
What is the difference of the preparation we need to do on this Rosh Hashanah from the old times when the Hagim just came year after year in calendar? May we have to ask us, Manish Shana, Shana Ze, Mikola Shanot? Is there any way to compare, like in the question that we make in Pesach?
That's a very good question. And we asked it every year. That's what Rosh Hashanah means. How is this year going to be different than last year? Because if it's not different, then it's not better. And if it's not better, then it's a failure. We don't want to fail. It has to be better. So what's going to be better? The first thing, our relationships. The most important, our relationships. I want to tell you an interesting little story. I think I may have mentioned it. You know that Putin, Vladimir Putin, is very close with the chief rabbi of Russia. They were visiting a couple of months ago, and the rabbi was ready to leave. And Putin said to him, this is going to surprise you. Putin said to him, Rabbi, I have a question. Tell me what is special about the Jewish people. Why are you still here when other peoples and other cultures and other nations disappeared? How come you're always here in every page of history? The rabbi very wisely said, it sounds like you've been thinking about it. What is your explanation? And Putin said, yes, I've been thinking about it. My explanation, my theory is the other nations put all their trust in things that are temporary. Armies, money, temporary. The Jews always put their trust in things that are permanent. Family, the rabbis, and the Torah. This is Putin. Do you see what's going on in the world? Of course, that's not going to be in the headlines. In the fake news. But this is what's really happening. People are thinking. People are realizing. The truth is starting to be obvious. This is good news. This is different. This year, the whole world is looking for a change. And Shana means change. Rosh Hashanah means the beginning of the change. It's going to be a big change for the whole world. And the most important prayer of Rosh Hashanah that Jews pray for is that every creation should know its creator. Every creation should know that you created it. And everything that is formed in this world should know that you formed it. And everything that breathes should say, God, the King of Israel, is the King of the whole world. It's happening. So this year our prayers are much more confident, optimistic, enthusiastic. We're seeing it happen. It's exciting.
There are people that are very afraid to go out of his house, to go back to his work, go back to the shul, to the school. What's the expectation we expect to have for being confident with our health, with our life? What do you think about it? What's in your mind?
I think the panic is over. The panic is over. People are afraid to go back to business as usual because it wasn't so good, the business as usual. We should be afraid to just go right back. That means we haven't benefited from this whole experience. We should not want to go back to what was. Think of how it's going to be better and then go back. Go back to something better. That's what we mean the future has changed. Before Corona, 6 months ago, we didn't think there was going to be any change ever. There's going to be war and there's going to be business and you're going to have to invest and you're going to have to travel and you're going to have to work 6 days a week, 5 days a week. All the habits that we had, we thought that was the future. More of the same, just more of the same. Now we realize that is not going to be our future. our future is going to be much better. So if you're afraid to going back to business as usual, that's good. Don't go back to what was usual. Make it better. Make it better. I suggested to a businessman here in the States, when your workers come to the office or to the business or wherever it is, put in 3 good hours of work to make the business more successful. The rest of the time, try to help each other, try to help people, think, plan how to make the world better. You won't lose any money. You give the best 3 hours, your most productive 3 hours to the business. The rest of the time, you think of how to make the world better. Because your life is better than many people's lives. How can you help those people? How can you make sure that everybody's life is at least as good as yours? If you go back to that kind of office, that kind of business environment, boy, will this be a better world.
So you mean there's like a personal responsibility for the whole world? I need to live and think about all the human beings, all the creations, as if I am the responsible for all the world. This is what do you mean? It's not too hard to carry that one?
That's what it means to be a partner with God.
Okay.
A partner is 50-50. Yes, we take full responsibility to do our share of making the world better. We're not on vacation.
Changing a little bit of the topic with that. I have a friend that was telling me that last year he was praying for being more time with his family, and he saw that God give that praying go live. So he was thinking, on this year, what's the praying that I have to do? Because I see that God is hearing us. So what do you think all of us has to pray and ask for God for the next year?
That just as our family became healthier, our community should become healthier. Our relationship with God should now become healthier. The Jewish people should become healthier, and the rest of the world should become healthier. That's a lot to pray for. But it's not just praying. We're also promising to do what we can to make everybody's family happier, to make everybody's life easier, so that they can relax and enjoy the important things in life, not retire and go on vacation. But that is so nice to hear. People are realizing God answered our prayers. So many times we think he's not answering.
And for bringing that salvation to the world, what's the job we have to do? What do you think? Like, if you give us like 3 examples, very very quick, very easy, what do you think every human being has to do to bring like the salvation to the world?
The first thing is you wake up in the morning and you're alive and you're thinking and you're not hungry, you're refreshed. Ask God, what can I do for you today? Ask a serious question. What can I do for you today? I have what I need. What do you need? Then look around. God is the king. A king feeds his people. Can you help God feed his people? Look around. A king keeps people safe. Security. Do you know anybody who doesn't feel safe or secure? Who is worried? Who is anxious? What can you do to help? You're a partner with the king. So wherever you see a need, it's because God is leaving that for you to fix. So fix it. Take an interest in the world around you as a responsible partner in creation, not a victim of creation. A day should not go by without giving some charity. Maybe you don't know anybody directly, so you give it to an organization that takes care of people, a good organization that helps people improve their lives. No day should go by without charity. No day should go by without a prayer. Help me fulfill my purpose. Help me be a successful partner. Think about your children. What have they learned about life? What more can you teach them about life? How can you inspire them to use their time and their talents towards making a better world, not just a bigger house for themselves? There's nothing wrong with a big house. I love a big house. But once you have the big house, then what? A bigger house? 2 houses? If you have a big house the way you should have, now it's time to pay attention to somebody else who doesn't. We've been too responsible for ourselves and not enough responsible for the people around us. And it's not working very well. When you take responsibility only for yourself, it's depressing. It feels like you're just running on a treadmill and you're not getting anywhere. Every day, the same thing, the same thing, the same thing. And then you read the newspaper and there's bad news, people are suffering, people are getting... So let's stop worrying so much about ourselves and start worrying about the people around us. It's not going to make you depressed. It'll make you the hero, God's partner in creation. And this is true of everyone in the world. And it starts at a very young age. If you've probably noticed, a 10-year-old is already bored with school, with life, with everything, because they have no responsibility. Give them some responsibility. They're ready. They want. They need. They already need to feel that they are making the world better, not just taking up space and kvetching and complaining about the toys or the games or the privileges that they think they need. It's depressing to live in a tiny world of only yourself. We're much more talented than that. We have to use our talents.
Talking about helping others, I think there is an issue we have to talk to all people that they're being for days and months and weeks in their houses. What's our responsibility to make them a better world, a better time, a better space? What can we do? What do you recommend?
You sit with a customer or with a friend or with somebody you meet and you say, lately I've been thinking, what's a good way of making a marriage better? Why do we have to wait till there's a crisis? Every week, the marriage should be better, healthier, stronger. What can we do to make marriages better? Every person can use an improvement. Not to complain about your husband or wife. No matter how good or how difficult the relationship is, we can always make it better. So talk about it. Make a suggestion. Wouldn't it be nice if we were more respectful? We have forgotten to be respectful. We got too comfortable. You take each other for granted. There is a child psychologist, very popular, very smart. He speaks to schools and to parents how to raise children healthier and better. One day he surprised a group of mothers. He said to them, when you walk into the room in the morning for breakfast, do your children stand up? They said, no. He said, you're wrong. You're not doing them a favor. Can you imagine if children stood up because their mother walked into the room? Well, would that be bad? Would that do any harm? Or would that bring a whole new elegance, a whole new quality to the family life? I had this experience. I came to Minnesota, and my job was to invite people to come and spend Shabbat at the Chabad house in Minnesota. So I made an appointment and I went to visit a family in Minneapolis. I'm talking to the father in the dining room, and the 12-year-old daughter came in. And like a typical American child, she said, Dad, are we going or not? The father said, go ask mom. The daughter said, I asked her. She said to ask you. So without thinking, just reflex, I said to her, you don't talk about your mother like she. Never say she. It's your mother. And she gave me a funny look like who asked you? What's your business? So, okay, I dropped it. Later that night, the father called me. He said, I want to thank you for what you did this morning. I said, what did I do this morning? I invited you to come for Shabbat. He said, no, not that. What you said to my daughter. When my son came home from school, and he's 11, I heard my daughter say to her brother, you know, you're not supposed to say she about mom. The atmosphere in the house has changed. We have become a family. From that one little change, is there room for improvement? There's a lot of room. Husbands and wives talk to each other in such a tone of voice that wouldn't even be fit for a slave. Think about what you sound like to your spouse. You boss each other around, you kvetch about each other, you say nasty things about each other, and you're used to it. You don't even notice anymore. Like, can't you ever do anything right? Can you imagine somebody saying that to their own husband or wife? That's jungle behavior. You don't talk like that. And then you wonder why the relationship is not happy and loving and intimate. There's room for improvement. Talk about it. Talk about it. We make jokes about family life. We make jokes about husbands and wives, all of them critical and nasty. This is going to help. There's room for improvement. And it's not dramatic improvements, not major changes of personality, just a different vocabulary, a different tone of voice, a little more dignified. That would be very nice. Don't call your wife from a different room. Come here. Don't do that. Where are you? Don't do that. Speak with dignity. It helps a lot. If you want to talk to your wife, go to where she is, unless you can't move. Go to where she is. You don't have to shout. You don't have to demand. Go talk like a mensch. How do you say that in Spanish?
Mensch in Spanish, like caballero, like
Yeah,
hombre, caballero, like something like that.
yeah, that's
Uh,
a compliment.
yeah, a caballero, yes, yes. Rabbi, the last question, and I give you time for the last message. The countries are living a profound economic crisis. In some time, we're going to feel the deepest area of the crisis in our pockets. How does the people must live in order to maintain the joy, the happiness, the bless of God, even with less or with a complex house budget? What do you recommend for that situation that is going to be very closely?
If we want to be nice to each other, we can make the world, we can make the country rich and successful beyond our imagination. All it takes is cooperation. The only reason we're not much, much richer than we are now is because we don't cooperate. We're not together. Everybody's fighting for themselves. And it doesn't do anyone any good. If you can imagine working together, the people with the government, one government with another, if there was cooperation, we would be so rich, we wouldn't have to work. The only thing that's keeping us poor is that we don't cooperate. What's going to happen in the business world is that people are going to cooperate. We have to. We have to work together or we can't work at all. If you're going to be poor and I'm going to make a product, who's going to buy it? If you have a product, but you want to overcharge for it so that nobody can afford it, how are you going to make a living? If we stopped being so defensive, if we stopped being so frightened and we cooperated, we can become much richer than we ever were. That's what's going to happen. We're not just going to be okay financially. We're going to be much richer.
Beautiful.
There's no reason we can't.
Rabbi, give us your last advice and message for the next year, your blessing and your profound thinking about what's going to be the next year, the future that is coming.
The next year, the world is going to become much more godly. And in order to do that, the world needs to learn Torah. Jews need to learn Torah in order to know how to be Jewish. And the world needs to learn Torah in order to know how to be good. We have forgotten how to be good. Everybody thinks that by being successful, they're being good. If I can get what I want my way, that's good. No, it's not good. We have forgotten what good means. To know what good means, we have to learn Torah. So the world is going to ask the Jewish people, what is the definition of God? What is the definition of good? What is the definition of marriage? What is the definition of friendship? What is the definition of morality? People don't know anymore. They really want all the good things. They just don't know anymore. It's been so long since anyone taught the truth, the selfless truth. So what's going to happen is what is true and real good is going to become popular. That's never been before. Before, anything that was popular was either not healthy or not legal, or just fake news. For the first time in history, being good, the truth, is going to become popular. That's very good news. And here's the important thing. We're worried about the environment. We worry about the planet. We worry about the quality of life. We worry about the crowding and the traffic and the pollution. None of that would be a problem if we knew why we're alive in the first place. I think sometimes, sitting in traffic in Mexico City, anywhere, a lot of traffic, cars going, where are they going? I've always wondered, everybody is so busy they have to go someplace. Where are they going? For what? And when they get there, what's going to be accomplished? We run and we're busy and for what? Stop and think for a minute. Where are you so busy with? Where are you off to? Why do you have to go where you're going? You don't even know yourself. You don't know. You think you need to go. We forgot how to think even. Stop and think. You have to go, you have to run, you have to be someplace. For what? For what? We need to be a little more mature. We need to be a little more thoughtful. We've been running like ants, busy by nature, not by purpose. Now let's be more purposeful. What do I need a car for? Really, why do I need a car? Where am I going? I suggested to a doctor that whenever somebody calls and says, my foot hurts, the first question you should ask, where do you need to go? My hand hurts. What do you need to do? My back hurts. You need to carry something? In other words, before we start fixing the parts, think for a minute, what do you need it for? A person calls a doctor and says, I don't hear. My hearing, I don't hear. The doctor's first question should be, what do you want to hear? What do you need to hear? Person says, I can't speak. So what have you got to say? We take the function for granted. We never bother to ask the purpose. It would be nice if a doctor would tell a patient, no, it's nothing serious. It's just a pimple. You have nothing to worry about. Now, you don't have this fear or this anxiety. So now, what are you going to do? Now go home and take care of your kids. If you're healthier than you thought you were, so now, what's good about being healthy? Now, go do something important. Wouldn't that be a nicer world?
Thank you.
People come to a marriage counselor, and the wife says, "My husband doesn't show any interest in me." Why should he? Why should he? See, right away we're fixing the problem. Wait a second. What makes it a problem? If he did give you more attention, what would that do? Make you a better person? Think the purpose. Find the purpose. Everything would be better.
Amen.
So thank you very, very much for this opportunity to talk to you. It helps me think more clearly. Otherwise, I'm sitting here in the house with nothing to do, locked away. These are good topics. These are good subjects. We should all be busy thinking these thoughts. It's what makes us human.
We can be reflexive. Rabbi Friedman, thank you very much. It's been an honor always to hear you, your incredible thoughts and your great advices. It's been a pleasure to have you with us in Talmud Torah Monte Sinaí. I'm going to speak a little bit in Spanish. Sorry for that. Agradecemos mucho la presencia del Rab. Esta plática ha sido grabada y transmitida por Facebook Live en la página del Talmud Torah Monte Sinaí. También estará disponible en la página de Monte Sinaí. Asimismo, habrá un video que se traducirá y se hará con subtítulos, mismo que lo podrán encontrar en YouTube en los próximos días. Espero que la hayan disfrutado y si la disfrutaron, por favor, compártanla. Tenemos, como cada año, en el Talmud Torah Monte Sinaí, preparado una serie de clases durante todo el mes de Elul y los días de los Hakim para que ustedes puedan entrar y oír todas nuestras pláticas. Consulten el calendario porque tendrán muchísimas pláticas como esta interesantes que escuchar. Rabbi, I hope you understand me. If not, I will send...
I think you said, Ksiva v'chasima tova l'shana tova.
Gam. Shana Tova, thank you very much. Have a great week and Shana Tova umetuka with all your family, with all your members of your congregation, and hope to see you soon back in Mexico.
Thank you.
Hope to see you in our house, in our community.
Thank you.
Again.
Thank you. Adios.
Adios. Hasta la vista.